Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to do my top games of last gen. Now that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One and the Wii U are out, I thought it'll be a good idea to close off this, generation with my list of, top games. And I just want to quickly give a disclaimer that obviously I have not played every single game released during the seventh generation of gaming. I think it's the seventh. Which comprises, the PlayStation 3, the 360, the Nintendo Wii, and on the handheld front we have the Nintendo DS and the PSP. And another quick disclaimer, I have not been a pretty big handheld person during that, generation, so you're not gonna see a whole lot of DS and PSP games, if any at all, so stay tuned for that. And I decided to do a top 15 list. I know two great YouTubers, Ari Lewis and Ultimate Floyd 1. They both made their list and they did a top 20. I'm gonna cut down a little bit short and I'm gonna do a top 15 because after those top 15 it starts to get a little bit murky and I have so many games that those 5 spots left for the top 20 can really go to any games. But let me just start with my top 15, and the first game that I'm gonna mention is a sports game, which I know not a whole lot of people do like them for some reason, and it's just the PES or the Pro Evolution Soccer series for the Wii specifically. And I don't have a particular one. It could be any year. This is 09 and this is 2012, but it could be any of these. Games in the series. And the reason why I picked the Wii version, even though the PlayStation 3 and 360 version have much better graphics, but the Wii version of this game makes the best use of the Wii mode ever out there, even surpassing Wii Sports and other Nintendo first party titles. Once you learn the controls, which are a little bit on the hard side, this game has a steep learning curve. You can really perform a lot of creative, tactics and send players on runs on the sides. And if you like soccer like I do, this is a fantastic game. It really rewards creativity, and it's the most real game just because you're able to use the Wiimote to point on the screen and you can trace where some of the players on the screen you want them to go and so forth. So if you like soccer, please check out the Pro Evolution Soccer series on the Nintendo Wii. And here's hoping that Konami keeps the tradition going with the Wii U or the PlayStation 4 now that I think the PS4 is compatible with Move, because these games are really fun using the pointer on the screen. So sports games, Pro Evolution series for the Wii gets the 15 spot. Number 14, I have another Wii game, and that game is Mad World, which was developed by Platinum Games and published by Sega. This is a extremely violent and extremely gory game that it's really short, and I remember I got this on day one because I was super excited. Nowadays you can get this for under like $10, I think, and I highly recommend it. It has a pretty unique art direction. The game is in black and white, but because it's so violent, you can see the blood in red color all over the screen. But it's not the violence that makes the game fun. It's just the different ways you can, execute your enemies, the different ways that you can chain combos together. And like I said, the game is really short, but surprisingly has a pretty interesting story, a pretty solid gameplay, and it's one of those hidden Wii gems, if you will. So Mad World, a game that it's really cheap nowadays, and it's really fun. Short game, but fun. Next game is a PlayStation 3 game, and that game is Yakuza 4. And I picked the 4th installment in the series because I had the most fun with this one. Essentially, this is an action game that has some light RPG elements. You can level up your character, you can teach him new skills, and you have to explore the world within the game. The story is somewhat complicated because the story builds up from the first game to the second game to the third game to the fourth game, and there are a lot of events that happen between the games. But the cool thing is that the game has a movie mode where you can watch the events of the previous games, so that's really cool. to keep up to date with the story. But as far as the game, it's really fun. There are tons of sub-stories, side quests. You can easily put over 60, 70 hours into this game by trying to complete all the mini games. And it's just a really fun action game. And I picked Yakuza 4 over 3 because in the fourth installment you can play with different characters. So it gives a little bit more of a fun approach because each character has their own fighting style and whatnot. So here's hoping that Sega localizes Yakuza 5, although it seems very unlikely. But Yakuza 4, fantastic game for the PlayStation 3. Highly recommend that if you enjoy Japanese themed games. It's really fun. And speaking of Japan, the next game comes from a Japanese publisher, a very well-known publisher, and that is Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Wii. This is one of the best 3D platformers out there, and just the prime example of Nintendo at its best. This game has fantastic graphics, graphics that rival games in the PlayStation 3 and the 360, despite the obvious the obvious difference in power between the Wii and the 360 and the PS3. But this game holds pretty well. It has an incredible art direction. The level design is pretty clever, and I decided to pick Galaxy 2 over the first one. And by the way, I'm not gonna repeat games within a series. So you're not gonna see 2 Mario games. You're not gonna see 2 of each. So I decided to go with Galaxy 2 just because it's a newer game. You can ride Yoshi, and the levels are, in my opinion, a little bit better designed. Not to mention, I like the overworld in Mario Galaxy 2. It's more simple, very easy to navigate, and the game itself, it's fantastic. So Super Mario Galaxy 2, a really fun game and a must-have if you have a Nintendo Wii. So we're up to number 11 now, and it's another Wii title, and that game is No More Heroes. This is a fantastic game. It's really hard to describe No More Heroes because at its core this game has a lot of flaws. There's issues with the frame rate, issues with the camera, but in a way they comprise the charm of the game. It's really hard to explain. This is an open world game in which you have to go out there and kill other assassins, and essentially the open world in this game is pretty much useless because there's not a whole lot to do, but for some reason it has a certain charm. The characters in this game are pretty unique, are pretty fun. The bosses in this game are really well designed, and despite its flaws, this is one of the hidden Wii gems, third-party gems if you will. And controlling Travis Touchdown, it's really fun. You can upgrade your katana weapon. And again, it's another over-the-top, really violent game from the creative mind of Suda51. So No More Heroes, another hidden Wii gem, and in my opinion, a must-have. I had a lot of fun with this game. Next up, speaking of open world games, this is an open world game that really nailed the concept, and that game is Red Dead Redemption. This is number 10 in my list, and for a good reason. I mean, when we talk about open world games, this is the definition of pretty much perfection right here. This game executed everything really well, from the script of the characters to just the variety in the missions, and very likable characters. And the Western setting was just perfect for this game. You can really tell that Rockstar they did their homework and spent a lot of money developing this game and just making sure that Western setting was really present in an excellent way. So Red Dead Redemption, this is the Game of the Year edition, which has all the downloadable content, and it has the Undead Nightmare DLC, which is also pretty fun because you instead of killing regular people, you kill zombies. So it has a different spin on the game. But Red Dead Redemption, excellent game, from the graphics to the script to the characters to the soundtrack, and everything in this game is extremely well done. So another PlayStation 3 game that it's really good. For number 9, I have Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception for the PlayStation 3, and not long ago I did a discussion on the Uncharted series, and this was my top Uncharted game. And I know a lot of people prefer Uncharted 2, but I went into detail in that video as to why I picked Uncharted 3. It's the best looking game in the series, and the way the over-the-top action sequences are presented in this game are really fun and just pretty well designed. The game does have some severe gameplay issues that unfortunately deter a little bit from the enjoyment of this game, but overall it's an excellent game, and again, you can get this game for really cheap nowadays. So if you're into third-person shooter adventure type of games, this is definitely a must-have, and it's one of the best looking games on the PlayStation 3 and overall from last generation. So Uncharted 3, fantastic game. And by the way, in my top 15 there are no 2013 releases because I'm going to be doing my 2013 Game of the Year video pretty soon, so I decided to leave those out of here because in a way it would spoil the contents of my upcoming video. So let's jump into number 8, and that game is Rayman Origins, which is one of my favorite platformers of all time. The level design in this game is fantastic, it's incredible, and it's really a game that relies on rhythm. A lot of the levels, once you know where the enemies are located, you can find a certain flow in a rhythm to beat the games, and it's really fun whether you're trying to beat the game and collect all the lumps in each level, or whether you're trying to do a speed run through all the levels. This game is super fun. I went as far as getting a platinum in the game by collecting everything, by speed running throughout the entire game, and the graphics in this game are gorgeous, and just this is a very solid platformer, and it goes to show that there are other companies out there that really know how to develop platformers other than Nintendo, and this is a prime example because this game is fantastic and a must-have game in my opinion if you like platformers. So Rayman Origins. Now we're gonna move to the lone portable or handheld game that I have in my list, and that game is 999. What is it? 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. This is a visual novel for the Nintendo DS that really captivated me. It's almost like reading a book, so not a whole lot of gameplay interaction between the game and the player, but a fantastic game. Just the story of this game is really good, and the puzzle solving presented in this game is fantastic. I really enjoyed this game. It's definitely my favorite handheld game of last gen, and just the cast of characters, it's really interesting. The story is very interesting. I'm not gonna go into detail because it's a game that you really have to experience it by yourself. And the game features different endings, and which give a lot, an added replay value to the game. And it's really fun once you get an ending, trying to get a better one, or just to get a different ending to see the different outcomes in the story of this game. But 999, a fantastic game. It's a game that you have to know how to play it because it's pretty much a whole lot of reading and puzzle solving. But if you're into that, this is a must-have title in your collection. So 999, fantastic game. Number 7 in my list. For number 6, I decided to pick a music game because I really like those. And my favorite of the bunch is the Beatles Rock Band. For one, I'm a huge Beatles fan, so that's that. But from a unbiased point of view, this game is really well done, very polished. A lot of love went into this game with the song selection, the way the game is presented, and the developer Harmonix did a fantastic job of recreating some of the backgrounds for the songs and whatnot. So Rock Band, the Beatles. I was deliberating between this and Guitar Hero 3 because Guitar Hero 3 was my first music game that really hooked me into the genre. back in the day. And Guitar Hero 3 was so much fun. He had a great track list from hard rock songs and all that. But I decided to go with the Beatles Rock Band just because of the presentation, and the game is a little bit more polished. But I really enjoyed the whole music, in plastic instrument genre that was hot a few years ago. It was really fun playing with friends, anytime that you had friends over, or playing with, your roommates or whatever. Really fun type of games that can really become addicting. So the Beatles Rock Band, we got there at number 6. And my number 5 right now, it's pretty much set in stone. The games that I talked previously are, it could go one way or another, but I think my top 5 are pretty well defined. And even though I have a huge backlog of games that I still haven't played, I think my top 5 will remain set on stone forever for this generation. So let me start with number 5, which is Battlefield Bad Company 2. And this is a game that I used to hate the first-person shooter. I used to be in love with the genre back in the GoldenEye 007 and the Perfect Dark days in the Nintendo 64, but then I fell out of love with the genre, and it wasn't until I played this game again that I really, went back to it. And Battlefield Bad Company 2 is more than just a first-person shooter, and it's just very tactical. Once you get a good group of people to play with, the game is not just about killing other people. You have to be really careful. You have to set out a tactical approach to each different game in order to win, and you have to cooperate. You have to know how to pick different classes, and then on top of that, you have the battlefield moments, the big maps, the fact that you can ride vehicles, you can drive a tank, you can drive a jeep, you can fly a helicopter, fly planes. Well, not in this game, but the reason I went with Battlefield Bad Company 2 is because this is the game that started it all for me. And now, the Battlefield franchise is my go-to online multiplayer game. And even though this game feels a little bit dated now in terms of gameplay, this is where it all started for me. Bad Company 2, a fantastic game. The maps were really fun. And again, just a really, really fun and addicting online multiplayer game. Battlefield Bad Company 2, fantastic game. It's my number 5 game. For number 4, I have a extremely difficult action RPG, if you will, and that game is Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 3. I got this game on day 1, and I remember I hated it for the first few days because I didn't really know what I was doing or where I was going, but that's one of the keys in the game. You're not really supposed to know what you're doing, and you're supposed to find out for yourself. And add to that the fact that this game is brutally hard, especially for newcomers. So this game is really challenging, but part of the charm of the game is actually that, the challenge, the difficult in each chapter, and it's all about leveling up your character by collecting souls. But this game has a system where if you die, you lose all your souls. And in order to get them back, you have to go back to where you were killed. But if you get killed in the process, you completely lose your however many souls you were carrying. So it's a very risky type of system. It's an extremely challenging game, but the game excels in the gameplay department very, very well. And the game also has a pretty cool online component where you can play with other people. And it just becomes really addicting because the game has perfect atmosphere, this dark, eerie type of atmosphere that really sets the tone for the game. And then combine that with the gameplay and the difficulty of the game, it really becomes a fantastic game. So Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 3, this is an exclusive for the PS3, fantastic game. And now we get into the top 3. Top 3, we're gonna start with a Nintendo Wii game. I'm kind of cheating here because this game was originally developed for the GameCube, which is last gen. So essentially this is a GameCube game, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. But it was released first on the Wii. It was a launch title, and this is the reason why I went out and got a Nintendo Wii on day 1, because I was actually a Wii hater before, when the system got announced. I was not a believer of the, whole motion control Wii Sports type of deal, but this is the game that made me go out there and wait in line and get a Nintendo Wii, and it was worth it because this is one of my favorite 3D Zeldas. Just the dungeon design in this game is fantastic. It has one of the best dungeon designs, one of the best bosses in the entire series, and essentially this game takes whatever Ocarina of Time did and it improved it. For me, Ocarina of Time still is the best game as far as 3D Zeldas go, but this game, it's really a redefined version of Ocarina of Time. Just better controls, just a much larger environment, and better designing the dungeons, better better boss battles and whatnot. So The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, this is a game that has a very special place in my collection. It's the reason why I got a Nintendo Wii on day one, and it's in my opinion one of the best Zelda games in the entire series. So you can get also this for the GameCube, but the Wii version was released first. So Zelda Twilight Princess, fantastic game. Now for number 2, I got a Japanese RPG that I'm not pretty big into JRPGs, but this game right here, it's really something else, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles. And when it comes to RPGs like Xenoblade, I'm usually overwhelmed because this is the type of game that you really have to invest at the very least 60 to 70 hours just to finish the game. And then if you want to go for collectibles and completions and be a completionist, you really have to put 80 to 120 hours into this game. This is a massive game that really blends great graphics with a pretty good combat system, with a excellent soundtrack, with a fantastic story. And when you blend all of those things together, you get this right here. It's truly a masterpiece in my opinion. And again, I'm usually overwhelmed and put off by games that are extremely long, like Xenoblade Chronicles. This is an 80-hour game, but it's the story, the characters, the combat system that kept me going. I was completely hooked to this game, and it's just one of those games that it's very much worth owning a Nintendo Wii. And I know this is somewhat of a hard game to get, but if you guys enjoy RPGs, or even if you don't, because again, RPGs are not essentially my top genre, but this game really changed my perception, and just a fantastic game, very addicting. The characters are fantastic, and I'm really hoping that Nintendo keeps, or Monolith Soft does a good job with X for the upcoming game for the Wii U X. So Xenoblade Chronicles, a fantastic game, a little bit hard to get, but if you can find this game, please buy it and play it, because this is a true masterpiece. Whether you like RPGs or not, this game deserves a shot and deserves a spot in your shelf in your living room. So Xenoblade Chronicles, a masterpiece for the Nintendo Wii. And my number 1 game, which it's kind of odd, I'm going to show you guys right here. The game itself, it's very popular, but the case that I have here is a custom case, and that game is Bioshock, the first one. And the reason why I have this ugly looking case is because when I first got my PlayStation 3, I was not interested in first-person shooters, obviously. Like I explained a while ago, I fell out of love with the genre. GoldenEye 007 was my last fun first-person shooter. But when I got my PlayStation 3, I remember a video store was closing down, and they were liquidating their games. That were just pretty much, selling all their stock. And I remember seeing Bioshock for $5, and I thought, I kept hearing how great this game was, how fantastic this game is, and I thought, well, for $5, I'm going to give it a shot. And hence why, the cover or the case is different, because I got it from a video rental store. And let me just say that those $5 that I spent were the best $5 that I spent in my life, because Bioshock completely hooked me into the game. And the first thing that I noticed, for some reason I had the impression that Bioshock was a futuristic game. I don't know why, but when you start the game, you see that it's actually set in the late 50s, early 60s, and the game just takes you, underneath the ocean into the city of Rapture. And the first thing that really captivated me was the art direction, the Art Deco nature of the city of Rapture, and everything about the city itself was so amazing. The neon lights flashing outside in the water effects in this game were fantastic. And then, that's just the beginning. The presentation is top notch, but once you start playing the game, the graphics were pretty good for the time, and then just a blend of fantastic story with the gameplay that it's in a way combines usage of regular weapons with plasmids, and you can combine those powers to be really creative in the combat department, especially when fighting these guys, the big daddies protecting the little sisters. The game really becomes pretty fun once you try to figure out a good tactic to get rid of them. And then on top of that, you have the background and the story, and the game goes over different ideals that deal with politics and the social status of the citizens of Rapture. So this is a very mature game, not because of the violence, but because of the concepts within the game. So it's really, for me, this is the first game that really transcended that video game to movie, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a movie because the story is so well written. It also feels like a book because of the concept, of the deep concepts within the game. So it's really a really good example of how video games can become an engrossing form of media. And Bioshock is just a masterpiece, and I decided to pick this over the other two games because it was the first game. It was the first time that I visited Rapture. I was just blown away, and this game managed to do so many things perfectly. Not to mention the PS3 version has some pretty good DLC content as well. So the replay value of the game it's up there. So Bioshock, it's my #1 game for this generation, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And like I said, I decided not to include any 2013 releases in my top 15 because in a way it could spoil my my upcoming video on top games of 2013. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you agreed with my list, or if you guys have your own list. Please let me know. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.